So the plan was to do a full review of the new Panasonic Lumix G95 in Taiwan, but I'm slowly losing my voice, and the more I talk, the croakier it gets and the harder it is to understand me. So the backup plan now is to shoot some B-roll footage with the G95 at 4K 25p. There'd also be some 8-bit vlog footage in there as well, and you can actually download that footage direct from my Dropbox. The link to my Dropbox will be in the description down below. And the lenses I'll be using are a 12 to 60 Panasonic lens and an 8 to 18mm Panasonic lens. And all the audio will be recorded direct in the camera with the video micro from Rode. I think that's what it's called. So I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I'll see you back in New Zealand.
About to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. To a place where we don't know.
After using the camera for 2 days, it kind of feels like a baby GH5, which this is being recorded on at the moment. It has a lot of features of the GH5, and it performs 80% as good as the GH5, but it's a really good camera and it's a really good size. You can actually see that some of the actual buttons are very much like the S1 and the S1R. They've copied some of that over, which is really nice, so it kind of feels more familiar now. I actually own the S1 and S1R, as well as the GH5, GH5S, G9, and this is not my camera, okay? I'm gonna make that very clear. This is not my camera. It has been loaned to me to review by Panasonic. I wanna make that clear. I've actually swapped over from Nikon to the S1 and S1R. So I'm actually using them for my full-time professional work. I use my GH5 and GH5S, which is here, and that's the actual S1 over there, GH5S and GH5. I use those cameras for my YouTube videos. The camera's been really well designed. It has a very nice deep grip. All the buttons are in the right place. They're very easy to reach. One particular thing I do like is this front dial here. It's around the shutter button. So it's there and the shutter button's there. And it's in a really nice place. And the back dial here has a function button in the middle, which is also nice. But the nice thing about these dials is they're just the right stiffness, if that makes sense. The one thing I don't like about the S1 and S1R is their actual back dial is really easy to knock. It spins too easy for me. These don't. They've got just enough resistance to them, and because of that, it's much easier to know where you are, and you can actually feel the click as you're turning the dial, which is really nice. You've got your white balance, your ISO, and your exposure compensation, which is like the S1 and the S1R, so they've put them in the same area. You've got a record button. Obviously, you've got your program button here for your different modes, your on and off switch, and on the other side, you've got your different functions like your 4K photo, multiple shots, time-lapse. It does actually have a time-lapse function in it as well. It's a very nice camera. It's really well made. It doesn't creak or anything when you grab it. It feels really solid. It's going to last quite a while. This is the kit lens it comes with, which is a 12 to 60, but it's not a constant aperture. It's a 3.5 to 5.6, depending on where you are on the zoom. But it's still a really good lens. It's really well made. The actual back mounting plate on this is metal, not plastic like a lot of manufacturers put in their kit lenses. It's a very nice lens. On the side, you have a socket for a cable remote. You also have a headphone and microphone jack. You have HDMI out, and you also have a USB port. That means you can actually USB charge this camera while you're using it, or you can charge it while it's in your bag, which is really good. So if you're not using the camera, chuck it in your bag, plug in USB power bank, and away you go, it's charging. And the actual microphone port is up here on the top, which is in a nice place. So it has all of those functions. It has IBIS, so it has in-body stabilization. Coupled with the lens stabilization, you get dual stabilization, which works really well. It's very much like the GH5. The tracking system is not as good. I will be honest, it's not as good as a GH5, but it's still good enough. A lot of people expect a lot from these cameras, and it's fine, to be honest. It goes out of focus every now and then, but it's not that bad. The actual flip out articulating screen, which everybody seems to want, and it's on here, on basically a budget or a baby GH5, I will call this. On this side, you have only one memory card slot, okay? It only has one memory card slot, but hey, it's fine. For this type of camera, it's fine. You've got a hot shoe on top, so you can put a flash or you can plug in your microphone. The video functions of the camera is 4K, 24, 25, and 30p. And in full HD, it will do 60 frames, 90 frames, and 120 frames. In full HD, in this small camera, which is really good. Another function that it actually comes with is 8-bit Vlog. Yes, 8-bit Vlog in the camera. It's not an add-on, you have to pay for it, it's actually in the camera. Now what I've actually done, down below in the description, there is a link to my Dropbox, and there's a folder in there. You can download the footage and you can then color correct it yourself and see what you think of it. But actually for a camera, it's a really nice camera. I actually enjoyed using this, and I actually was happy using it as a vlog camera. I am considering maybe doing a weekly vlog. The GH5 can do it, and the GH5S, not really, because it doesn't have in-body stabilizer. The G9 can do it, the S1 can do it, the S1R can do it, because they have in-body stabilizer. But they're big cameras. Even the GH5 is quite big compared to this. This is a really nice size. This is something I can chuck in my bag when I'm taking my S1R out and doing some landscape work or doing some commercial architectural photography, and I can have this in my bag and I can do video and not worry about it. So yes, I actually really like this camera. It's really good quality. Panasonic have done a very good job. I'm not sure on the price, but I know it's a lot cheaper than the GH5. And for starting out, if you want a really good 4K camera with an articulated screen, microphone in, headphone jack out, HDMI out, you can't go wrong really. The only problem is the size of the battery. It's tiny. It's not a very big battery. But to be honest, I shot with this for about an hour and a half, constant, taking footage and testing it, and the battery didn't run out. And then when I was finished, I chucked it in my bag, put a USB cable in, was charging it while I was having a coffee, and it was fine. It works really well that way. So this was my quick review on the G95 and the features it has. This is not a full review that some people do, that they just basically read the manual and then they tell you guys what's in the manual. You can do it yourself. I wanted to give you a genuine hands-on review, what I thought of the camera. And it's a good camera. It's a very comfortable camera. It's very easy to use. All of the buttons are in the right place and it works. That's it. That's all I want to know sometimes is just, does the camera do this? It does it. Great. It works. That's all I need to know. I don't need to know about other functions. The fact that it has 8-bit Vlog built in is a big bonus. I think that's an amazing add-on that they put into there. And the IBIS as well, that works really, really well. And the fact that you can use all of your micro four third lenses on this camera, so you don't have to rely on the 12 to 60. I was using in part of the video an 8 to 18 mil. That lens doesn't have in-body stabilizer, but it works really well on it. And it's actually done a very good job when it was handheld and I was talking to the camera. So as always, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you again soon.